Hello princesses, today I'm going to be talking about the Mercier Real Flawless Weightless Perfecting Foundation. I picked this one up maybe a year and a bit ago because my NARS foundation was running out. It's been ages since I've had the NARS foundation, but I miss it so much. And this one, I've been wanting to try one of the Mercier foundations for ages. They weren't available in New Zealand until maybe like the last 3 or 4 years. And so I'd only ever seen them in like airports, or I'd seen them in Taiwan and in Europe before and like swatched a few things, but they were always very expensive. So when they came to New Zealand, they came to Becca and I was able to get a tester, loved it. So I thought, holy, it's $102. Oops, I'd forgotten about that. So this is a weightless, waterproof, long-wearing foundation. And the product description says, weightless, waterproof, long-wearing foundation that blurs the line between makeup and skin with medium buildable coverage and 12 hours of fade-proof wear, redefining perfecting coverage with this multifunctional foundation to reveal a healthier-looking complexion, featuring the perfect color technology to lift sallowness and dullness for cake-free, color-true wear. The auto-balancing technology instantly hydrates for smoother skin and helps reduce shine throughout the day. Those are a lot of claims. So we'll start with our packaging. It is a little glass bottle with a beige cap. It has a pump on the top, and I find that this one is really easy to use. So at the moment I'm running out of the foundation. So one of the things that I have noticed is that the bottle seems to be like frosted in a way that you can't see how much product is in there. So I didn't even know that I was running out of the product until like yesterday when I used it, and I was like, oh, we're almost out. That's not great. I picked up the shade 0W1, which is the shade Satin, and it's a really nice lighter warm tone shade. It is the shade that I'm wearing today, and I think that it does match quite well, and I especially love that my new camera doesn't make me look like a ghost. Wonderful. Thanks for that. Okay, so I'm going to be doing half of her face with just the foundation, and then the other half is going to be with a added primer. Just shaking the bottle. And this is because I used to use the foundation without the primer, running out, and then for the last, I would say, month, I've been mixing them together like every time I use it because it's just so much better for me personally because my skin is more dry. So I'm going to be using my regular buffing brush. This is one for Sueva. It's the 104 buffer brush, and yes, it is about 1 million years old. And I'm just going to do this half, and my skin has been prepped with just sunscreen and moisturizer, so no extra primer or anything. This is like essentially like bare skin, I would say. And then I'm going to use a cushion puff to kind of like pat it into the skin and blend out any lines around my forehead and around my nose as well, because that is one of the more dry areas. So very quick and easy, and I'll show you up close afterwards what it looks like. For the second half, I'm just going to add a bit of this primer. This is the Artless Glow Base from Hamish, and I'm going to use it on this side. I do find that the combination is a bit easier to blend in because it's a little bit more liquidy. And it definitely feels less drying. It is a bit more annoying though, because obviously like if I wanted to travel, then I would need to bring 2 products rather than just one. But I don't think it's that much of a hassle. I still think that I get pretty good coverage, and the skin looks a little bit more dewy and fresh. It's easier to blend around the nose, so I can use the buffing brush really easily. I have like 2 little pimples down here. How I got them on like the base of my neck, I have no idea. And then I do the same thing with the cushion puff, and I just pat it in. So this is how both of the sides are looking. Without the glow base, it's definitely a bit more matte. And then with the glow base, it's definitely a little bit more luminous. And I think that for me personally, this looks better. But I think that I would have preferred this when I was younger. And then up close, I can definitely see a little bit of unblended foundation there. A little bit of dryness around the side of the nose. And I can still see it on the other side, but I just think it looks a little bit more, like more gentle, I guess. This one looks a bit more dry. The same thing for around the sides of my eye. It's just a little bit more obvious that it's dry without the primer than on that side, though I can still see, like, whenever I have like a little mirror, I'll be able to pick up on like more little bits. It's so frustrating. I try not to look at like a little mirror like this. But both of the sides I think equally look as good. I think that the coverage is still really great on both sides. The difference is definitely that this is a bit more matte, this is a bit more glowy, and this one is a little bit more moisturizing and smoothing on application, and this one is a little less. So if you have any dry flaky skin, my skin is pretty good today, thankfully. So it's not terrible, but there have been days where it's been like atrocious. For this one I would generally powder, but I think I'm going to be doing some like liquid blush, so I'll do it off camera and then I'll check in with you guys throughout the day. Okay, so it has been about 5 hours now and the makeup is still looking pretty perfect. On this side we do see a little bit of the dryness around the nose and the eyes, or at least I can see this. And then this side is a little bit more glowy, but otherwise the sides look pretty even, and I would say that the coverage is still pretty good. I did have to pin my bangs back because they were just so frustrating today. I think so far so good. It's holding up pretty well, as expected from my experience. So it has been 11 hours today. If you're wondering why I changed my shirt, it's because I got foundation on the white one, so it needed to be cleaned. And so far the foundation is still looking pretty good. I would say that we still have a bit of oil through the T-zone and on the nose. I do think that there is a loss of coverage. I can definitely see a little bit more flaws, especially on the side where the foundation is a bit more diluted, for sure. And things like on my chin, I have that little red patch, usually from leaning. I do have a little bit of like dryness around here and here still. So even with the extra oil on the skin, we can still see those dry patches. This side definitely looks more oily. So yeah, I feel like not all of the claims for the longevity are met. I personally feel like the loss of coverage is there, but then it's okay for the oil control, especially if you don't dilute it. So the one non-diluted side is better than the one that is mixed with the glowy primer, which is not at all surprising to anybody, I think. So I've been really enjoying this foundation. I've been enjoying it enough that I've pretty much finished the bottle. I think that there's still more in there and I can definitely kind of scrape it out. So we're going to keep going with the foundation. However, I didn't always like it. So in the application video that I actually did today, because again, I'm running out of the foundation, my hairstylist was like, we're going to do it, we're going to do it. I did half the face with just the foundation, and then the other half of the face has a moisturizing primer, which is what I've been mixing it with for the past, I would say, 3 months, in between trying the other foundations. This one has been a really good standard for me though, and it is one that I pick for when I am doing performances. So if you don't know, I also play the flute. That is like my whole thing, and I perform pretty regularly, and there are a lot of bright lights, there's a lot of like stress, there's a lot of sweating, and you want your makeup to probably not look that dewy because the lights will make it look really like sweaty looking. This is definitely the foundation that I have been really enjoying for that. However, on a day-to-day basis, it is kind of drying and it does make my skin look quite dry. So I tend to mix it with that primer so that, I guess it's a primer, it's a glow base, so that it looks a little bit nicer. And I think that at the moment I've only had it on for about an hour, and I do think that I can see a difference between the two sides. However, it's not that noticeable. I just think that this side looks a little bit nicer in terms of like the shine and the health of the skin, which is what brings me to my bigger point, is that the product description is kind of insane. It tells me that I'm going to have the auto balancing technology, which is going to instantly hydrate for smoother skin. I don't agree with that, and reduces shine throughout the day. I would maybe agree with that one. So I think that the foundation promises a lot, and even though it is a really good foundation, I don't think it really lives up to that hype. So the 12-hour fade proof wear I would disagree with. I think that it definitely does fade in terms of its coverage throughout the day. Redefining perfect coverage, you can build it up, but I find it really difficult to actually build the foundation up. I think that it has light coverage for me personally, because I can see my freckles and a lot of the scars. But I do think that my skin looks pretty skin-like, so I would give it a tick for that one. I don't think that it reveals a healthier looking complexion, because I'm not sure, it says it's a multifunctional foundation. I'm not sure if it's meaning that it's going to give me better skin after I take it off, because I fully disagree with that. But I do think that it does look like skin, and in that instance, I think that it does look like healthier skin in that way. Mostly for me personally. I like the colour. I think that the colour match is really, really good, and I like how it looks on the skin and how it lasts specifically for performances. However, I have just been using it like on a day-to-day basis, especially if I want something that's a little bit more fuller coverage. A lot of my foundations at the moment are more like tinted moisturizers because my skin is more dry. I do enjoy using this. I will continue to use this. I obviously have enjoyed it enough to finish most of the bottle as well, so I would have just sold that. It's like $100. If I didn't like it that much, that would have been gone. That would have been on Trade Me, Facebook Marketplace immediately. Would I purchase it again? Possibly. Because a lot of my life does revolve around performances, I do need a product that looks good and lasts. And this is probably my favorite one so far. I think the NARS one was quite good, but it wasn't quite as good on stage as the Laura Mercier. Plus the colour match, really nice. So after this bottle is finished, I will probably purchase it again. I might try some other foundations in between though. But overall, I would definitely recommend it for someone who's looking for a bit more of a medium coverage, but something that lasts really well and has a really nice skin-like appearance while being a little bit more coverage and a little bit more perfecting. So thank you guys so much for watching this review, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!